Hi YouTube friends, hope you guys are doing well. I know it's been a while since I've done some of the videos. And sure, it's just been such a crazy beginning of the year. There were so many things that happened in December and January. And yeah, so I just decided this afternoon to take a little bit of time out and then I can just quickly go through the comments and just see what I can answer for you guys. I see there's been a couple of comments that came through. So let's quickly see. So Rankla Kumalu, so let's quickly see. I'm trying to register an LLC and make a business plan. How do I go about that? And I see Anthony J gave you a reply there to say research. And I think that is the best thing to do. It's just to research business plans because it's not a one thing that fits all type of a thing. Business plans can look completely different from a small business to a big business to non-profit organizations. So I think you're going to have to sit and Google a little bit and see what research you can do about business plans for your business that you want to start with. Yeah, so business plans. I see a comment on that video about business structures. So unfortunately, I didn't talk about non-profit organizations and LLCs. Yeah, I think that would normally be something that you would have to go see lawyers about because it is quite a specialized type of a business. I hope that answers your question for you. Tiketsu, where can I claim UIF online with that UR 19 codes? I'm not sure. You're going to have to find the Department of Labor and see, but normally the UR 19 codes is at the bottom of that form. It will give you the different codes that you can use. I think that is probably the best place to start with. Let's quickly see Kunrad. Thank you, sir. I'm so irritated with the major banks who market business accounts but offer no guidance. There used to be a small business administration training course via Tamlin and other providers, courses I can no longer find. Do you perhaps know of a vendor who trains small businesses administration based on South African conditions? Kunrad, that is a really good question. I've been working with a guy that works for small business development funds. And he's got a website called Entrepreneurcity. I'm probably going to do an interview with him one of these days on my channel in any case. Let me quickly see. His name is Steve Reed, this business development guy. So I know that he did launch a website quite recently, but I think he's probably the guy that's going to give you some guidance. And I know that he definitely works with material for small businesses. So I would say maybe go check his profile on LinkedIn, send him a message, and listen, I'm starting a small business. You check one of my videos and you need a little bit of help just with administration. Yeah, I agree with you fully. Yeah, it's such a need out there, and people don't understand the basics of how to run a business. Stuart Spencer, I think I did chat to you. Let's quickly see, maybe. Yeah, we did have a session and I did talk to you about the income, about the inventory. I still want to do a video on stock at some stage when it comes to Sage, but the basic package doesn't specialize in Sage. It's just very, very basic of what you can do with Sage. But we did have a chat, so that's cool. Mighty. I'm in the vegetation management services and I have a contract that has been awarded in 2020. Now my business runs mainly on petrol and diesel during cutting of grass. The rise of petroleum, probably the price has increased dramatically since then, and we've been running at a loss. What happens when we cannot pay VAT, as the money is used to cover the losses and the other overhead expenses? And we're talking about the VAT video. So remember, that's a difficult situation to be in, but remember the VAT does not belong to you. If you charge a guy 1,000 Rand plus 150 Rand VAT, that 150 Rand, you are just appointed as a representative on behalf of the receiver of revenue to collect that 150 Rand and pay it over to him. That money does not belong to you. You can't use it to pay your business expenses. You're going to have to relook your business model. Go speak to those guys and say, listen guys, we're running at a loss. We can't continue with the contract because of the price of petrol and all the stuff that increased. So you're either going to have to stop the contract or they must give you increase. That's the only thing that you can do, but you can't use the receiver of revenues money to finance your business operations because then you're using SARS as a bank. And if they pick up that you're doing that, you're going to be in big trouble. Please don't do that. You've got to be really, really careful. Let's quickly see. Next one. What if the business is a company, does not make a profit? How could you calculate tax payable? Okay. So, Fatani Munwana, If the business is not making a profit, then obviously there won't be any tax payable. But what happens is if you make a loss, let's say for instance you make 100,000 loss in year one, that loss carries over to year two. So if in year two you make a 200,000 profit, what SARS then does is they first deduct the loss from the previous year, and then on the difference is what you got to pay tax. There's certain rules that is a little bit different, but that's in principle how it works. So if you make 100,000 loss in year one, that loss carries over to next year. If you make 150,000 profit, they first deduct the loss of 100,000 rand, and then they end up paying tax only on 50,000 rand, which is really, really cool. So they do accommodate people who starting businesses who's not making profits in the beginning. Yeah, small business corporation rates. I've got to actually redo this video. I see it's quite old already. Thanks for sharing, displaying transparency. Today is 3 years after you loaded the video. Does the percentage still apply? I'll on Section 12E of the Income Tax Act for 2023 rates. Yes, Mariana, you are 100% right. If you just go to the search, even if you just Google it, you just say SBC tax rates, then you will be able to find the new rates. As quickly see, there it is. So the new tax rates for small business corporations. Where is it? That's the company tax rate. So there's a change coming in over there. And small business corporations. So from 1 to 91,000 rand, 0%. Then you can see 7% to 365, up to 550, 21%. And then you can see the changes to 27% to the amount above that amount. Let's quickly see. I hope that answers your question. Let's quickly see UIF1 Beverly Days. I'm 64 years old, resigned from my work. Can I claim UIF? I think you will have to phone the Department of Labour and see, but I know generally when people resign voluntarily from their work, then normally, it's so stupid, but then they say that they can't claim UIF. But go check with them, give them a call. If you are at home, you should have some time available. So go chat with the guys and see if you can't get a claim in. You know, if you were retrenched, or then you can definitely claim UIF, but I think if you resign voluntarily, I think there's a limitation on what you can do there. Now to employ someone, let's quickly see. Do I have to be a tax practitioner to help clients with the registrations? I'm currently doing an ICB accounting program. I don't think so, but if you submit returns on behalf of somebody else, then you would have to be a registered tax practitioner, and for that you would obviously have to be registered with the controlling body. So if you just go look at the SARS website, look at tax practitioner requirements, and then it will give you a list of all the institutes you can belong to and what qualifications you need before you can qualify to be a tax consultant or tax practitioner. Quickly see month-end procedures. Anna, I'm so happy when I found you. Can you please tell me how do I go about when a client pays me cash? Let's do that. So I'm logged into the demo company. So if you go to your banking, remember you would normally go into your banking screen over here, and then you would be working on your main account where it comes through by default. So if somebody pays you cash, you're going to change that to petty cash account. You're going to change this to customer. You're going to select the customer. You're going to say how much he paid you, 100,000 rand. Go to there, allocate the tokens, a specific invoice, hit save, and then that is how you would work with cash transactions. I'm not sure why it's not saving now, but yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. Just change the bank, and then you would obviously just save it there. And then the only other thing is if you've got cash expenses on the same screen, you're just going to capture your cash expenses again. So I think that's just the important thing. Yeah, so that's the cash one. How do I record expenses? Makanyesi Solano. So I think once again in your banking, come on, why does the banking not load down? So if you record expenses, remember if you've got a bank feed set up, the expenses will be coming through from your bank account. So as it pops up in your bank account, you're just going to say account. If it was electricity or whatever the case might be, if it was, let's say for instance rent, and then over there, if you do work with that, you can select. So that is the one place. The other one is to maybe look through suppliers as well. There's also a way that you can capture your expenses. I've done the videos, go check it out. That is on my channel. How do we determine taxable income? Kenneth Sali. So I think, Kenneth, what you would have to do is normally you would have to look at your income, less your allowable deductions. That will give you taxable income, and that is normally where you will need assistance from an accountant to see what expenses you can normally put through to reduce your taxable income. The big test they always use the receiver of revenues, whether those are expenses or in the production of income. If the answer is yes, then you can do it. If it is no, then you can't put it through as a business expense. So then it means that you can have to pay tax on that. Elisma, thank you very much. Great that you enjoyed the video. Like I said, it is quite an old one. I'm going to have to redo that at some stage. How do you avoid, Gail George, how do you avoid or delete an invoice in Sage Accounting? Is it possible? It is unfortunately not possible. The only thing that you can do is if you created an invoice by accident, you've got one or two choices. If you've got an invoice over there that's not supposed to be there, you can go to actions and say create credit note, which will cancel out the original invoice. Or the other thing, which is not ideal to do, is to open it up, hit the edit button. It's really, there we go. And then what you can do is you can just go delete all the lines, and then just put like one line in here, or maybe even just make an account, select some account for services or whatever it is. You just leave it like that as 0, and it just hit save, because the invoice will still show there, but it'll just show as 0, which is not ideal, especially if people ask for statements and stuff. Then you all of a sudden got these 0 invoices on your system, so that's not good. Yeah, so either credit note or make the amount 0. Indulge, let's quickly see, income tax. I'm currently a freelancer making money through editing and earning a salary of around $2,400, 42,000 Rand. There is no official fixed contract. How will I be taxed, and what should I do to legalize myself, as I can say? Get paid through PayPal and other transfer money to my bank account. Yeah, so if you're a South African resident, remember, it doesn't matter where that money goes, you have to pay tax on your worldwide income, you see. So, and there's a couple of calculations, and normally, once again, it's something that your accountant would normally work with or help you with. But if you go to a website, we use this one called Your Tax. 2023 is the current year. So if you go in here and you say 42,000 Rand, then you say hit calculate, then you can see it gives you an estimate. So you've got to put about 8,700 Rand of tax if you earn 42,000 Rand. So remember, if you look at that video, the same one about income tax, we've got 3 choices. Either don't pay anything and wait until SARS sends you the invoice. Second thing is to do provisional tax twice a year. Third one, possibly if you're earning 42,000 Rand a month, if you're not disciplined enough, it would be wise to maybe look at registering for pay as you earn, so that you can pay over that 9,000 Rand every month over to the receiver of revenue, because then when they give you that assessment, then you've really paid the tax. So I think that's just my little piece of advice. Copy Act. Let's quickly see. Can I share my employee work contract with a third party? This reflects salary agreement and other benefits, or should I redact that information? I don't think it's wise to, as employer, can I share my employee contract with a third party? I think it depends on who the third party is. If it's your accountant or lawyer, somebody like that, I think you can. I think if it's confidential information, then rather not, you don't want to take chances with that type of stuff. Yes, but just be really careful with that. Sage, Kobisa, Hermans, are there courses that I can take on Sage Accounting? There definitely is. If you just Google Sage Accounting, I know Sage themselves actually does training on Sage Accounting as well. I'm not sure where you're based, but I know in Century City they've got offices there where you can go for training, but there's a lot of different training centers out there. Obviously, you've watched some of my videos, so I think there's a good starting point. And then I think it's really, really good if you do the training on Sage Accounting. For us as accountants, we also have to do training with them, and that training is really valuable, because especially if you go for a paid course, they give you like a manual and all that type of stuff, so you can always use that to reference back if you're looking for something specific. SARS 2022, someone Doze Zulu. How do you submit a tax return for employees? If that's true, why people who did not submit get tax penalized? Why is SARS not patient with people at least after a year and start penalizing people? Other people get SMSs that they don't have to submit, and other gets penalty for not submitting. And I think that is just the nature of the beast that we're working with. I see there's a lot of SMSs going out now where SARS is complaining to people and say that they have to submit tax returns, and then right at the bottom they say, if you really submitted your return, please ignore this notification. And it's so stupid, because then everybody is phoning us in panic. In the meantime, we've done their tax returns long time ago already. So they've got funny rules that they say by default, if you earn one income for less than 350,000 Rand per year, I think, then in theory you don't need to submit the return. But then they say if you work at two different places in the same year, if you have more than one source of income, then you must submit return. Or if there's things that you can use as tax deductions, so if you've got medical aid, retirement annuities, and those type of things, then you have to. So my advice always to the guys, just log into e-filing, go do the return, hit the submit button, and know it's done. Because otherwise, the problem now is that they'll come back maybe 5 years later, and then they're going to say, listen, dude, you were supposed to submit returns for 5 years. You never did it, and now they give you penalties for every single month that those returns are outstanding. So safer, even if you blow the threshold, register on e-filing, go through the process to get it verified, and then just do your return. It's not difficult. It's just answer the questions that they ask you, and that's it. Joby, this is appreciated. How would you suggest I pay tax if my income fluctuates per month as a small business owner? And that is the reason why you would need an accountant to help you through that process, because remember, yes, you were talking about the income tax one. So remember, with income tax, halfway through the in August, we need to make an estimate of what your taxable income is going to be, and then again in February, we need to make an estimate. You see, so normally 6 months is a good enough period to use to see what your income is going to be more or less. Remember, only once your financial year is finished, you have to submit the final return for the full year. So I think 11 months will give you a good enough estimate of what the average income or taxable income would be. Jasper, my dear friend, yeah, thanks for the message. I always appreciate it if you send me messages, and I will catch up soon. Yeah, thanks everybody for watching. I hope I answered some of your questions, of the stuff that you had, questions that you had.